This is the HomeTech Podcast for Friday, May 19th. From Sarasota, Florida, I'm Seth Johnson.
From Lewis Center, Ohio, I'm TJ Huddleston.
And from Pickering, Ontario, I'm Gavin Campbell.
And welcome to the HomeTech Podcast, a podcast where every week we talk about home technologies. We talk about Matter. We talk about smart thermostats, door locks, lighting, all sorts of fun stuff. I need to swap out this old script from Chad. I think I used to have a better one before. Or we need to make Chad write us a new one. Now that he likes the show, I guess. I mean, I don't know.
I don't think Chad likes the show, does he? I thought he's just going to write a terrible intro for us.
That could be the case. I don't know.
I thought he was talking terrible things about us.
He definitely did.
Outdated and not useful and whatever else. And I just want to reiterate that was before Gavin and I joined. So It's pretty much you, Seth.
Well, we'll have to use the new, Chad 4 model or whatever it is and see what they have to say about you guys. But
yeah, somebody needs to let us access their subscription. I don't want to pay for it.
I have one through work.
Do you? Ooh.
Using it for something.
Ooh.
I'll poke around and see if I can figure out how to do that. We use it for, I was using it for a chat bot at work to see if I could make it say something that was smart. But all it would do was summarize like the ticket. And I was like, that's dumb. So speaking of chat, the hub has been busy lately. I don't know if you guys have been hanging in there. I can't keep up with the Canadians that have taken over. Gavin, I think this is your fault.
Yeah, we're a chatty bunch, you know. And you know what? It's because in Canada, we hear about all the cool stuff, but we can't get our hands on any of it, you know. So, you know, we like to support each other and ask each other, where can you get this from? Or what do you use for this? You know, you guys in the States have everything.
Well, we got several new members this week, I feel like. And one of them has made me already spend money. So I feel like that's what the hub is really good at, is giving you ideas and what you can buy, and kind of makes you jealous sometimes. So you spend some money and you get some cool stuff. One of the users was talking about the Flume 2 smart home water monitor and leak detector. And this thing's $250, and you basically just wrap it around your plumbing, and it detects the water going through and everything like that. It'll give you a pretty accurate reading, supposedly. And the user that recommended it, he only had it for a couple days, but seemed to have pretty positive reviews about it so far. So I went ahead and bought it, bro. We'll get that installed hopefully next week and see what it can do for us.
Nice. But it won't show you your neighbor's water usage, so.
Well, I'm not that creepy, Gavin. I don't need to know what my neighbors are using. If that's what you're into, that's what you're into.
Hilarious. Well, speaking of new users, we do have a new friend of the show who's joined at the $5 level, and that is Josh Herrick, no N in there. So thanks, Josh. $5 and up level, you get a big shout out here on the show. So thank you so much for helping Gavin get to Cedia.
Yeah, flights are expensive from Canada, I guess. Can't pay in maple syrup or Canadian bacon.
I don't know. Well, no, I'm using my points. You know, so hopefully there's a whole hotel out there that I can get to. If not, a couch somewhere. Maybe I'll just rent a car and sleep in that. We'll see.
Yeah, I like you, but I don't think the wife is gonna like if you sleep in our room. So you're gonna have to find your own way, unfortunately.
Not just a cot at the bottom of the bed, just throw a pillow down there for me. That's all I need,
Yeah, as long as you don't move or make any noise or don't exist in the room, I think we're good.
Does your room have a balcony? It's warm out there. I'll sleep outside.
It does, but it does. But you have to get there without going through the hotel. So, get your
what floor are you on?
I don't know. We won't know till we get there. You just have to guess, I guess.
All right, I'll prearrange the first floor for you.
Oh, too good.
We do have a slight discount code for some hotels. The same one I'm staying. I think it's like 3 miles away from the convention, so you can use that. I think it's under $200 a night, which is relatively cheap for what I was looking at. But
yeah, we have some planning to do. I don't know how much planning I'm going to be able to do in the next week or two, because I'm getting ready for Infocom. But after that, it's a straight downhill towards Cedia, and we'll have to talk about a party and all that fun stuff. Get together, get everybody interested in meeting back up again, because it was a lot of fun. The couple of times we were able to do that, I know we did it in San Diego, we did it in Denver, I think in Dallas too. So lots of fun. We need to do it again and get everybody back in the same room, drinking, eating, having a good time. It's always fun to do.
Yeah, and Seth and I will be at Infocom. What is it, June 15th or something like that?
Yeah, 13th, 14th, 15th, 16th, somewhere in there.
I'm only going the first like actual day. So, but if you're going to Infocom, hit us up. Maybe we'll hang out or get some beers or something like that.
Yeah, I will be at booth 4866 or 4688. I don't know, one of those two
numbers. Blackwire, that's what it is.
Yeah, Blackwire. Look at the back row. That's where we'll be because we decided to go really late, and that's all that was left. So hopefully we'll.
I'm sure you got a discounted rate on it because it's in the very back.
Oh so. No, we did not.
Probably even more expensive actually because you waited to the last minute.
Exactly. No discounts left. Oh man. So yeah, if you're in Orlando for Infocom, and I guess it's less than a month out now.
Yeah.
Swing by the booth, say hi. TJ may be there. We'll make him a booth babe and have him hang out and help.
Ooh.
Yeah.
I bought some new shorts, so I think we can make that work. No crop tops yet though. I got to work on that.
Yeah, I mean, you have to wear that when you come to Florida. Like,
it's too hot.
Yeah, exactly. Gavin, aren't you glad Cedia is in Denver, not Florida?
It's still gonna be hot, isn't it?
I don't know. Yeah, I think Denver's still gonna be warm, isn't it?
It's mixed. There have been years where it's warm, but I remember one time I got there, it was really hot, and then it rained, and it was really cold. Like the next. Like I had to go to TJ Maxx and buy a jacket because I don't own a jacket, and I still have that jacket actually because we don't use them.
All right. Well, I'm going to go there and pretend like I'm a pro installer and that I belong here at Cydia, but I'm always going to throw in, does it integrate with Home Assistant? And I'm going to ask them, I'm going to say, the pro market's really itching for Home Assistant information. And see what kind of answers I get.
Well, you'll fit into everybody else that's acting like a professional, so nobody will even question you.
Absolutely.
Just throw in a couple matter questions once in a while.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, if you say matter, they'll know though. That's a tell right off the bat.
Matter? Does it matter?
They'll be like, "What's this guy talking about? I've never heard of it before."
Yeah.
All right. Well, we have a number of home tech headlines tonight. So, what do you guys say we get started?
Let's do it.
All right, first up, do you guys need faster Wi-Fi? Is your Wi-Fi 6 or 6E not fast enough? Well, there's only one solution out there right now, Wi-Fi 7. Now you just need a router, and TP-Link is ready to take your money, despite the spec not even being finished yet. TP-Link is launching its first ever pair of Wi-Fi 7 routers. One's a mesh system called the Deco BE85, and there's a single router / access point combo unit called the Archer BE800. I guess TP-Link sent some samples and some sample data over to The Verge about testing the BE85 with a OnePlus 11 5G phone, which I've never heard of, but we did look it up. It is a Wi-Fi 7 phone. And if true, the numbers look actually pretty good. The phone was able to get over 3,000 megabits per second throughput with being just a few feet away from the main router and only dropping to a little over 300 megabits a second at the farthest point away. So not terrible. Wi-Fi 6E routers get that gigabit, like 1,000 megabits a second at really close range. So 3,000, that's 3 times faster, I guess. I mean, it's way faster than most, I will say this, American ISPs provide. I mean, Canada, you still got a ways to go, right? But not bad. The BE85 is available right now at Best Buy in a 3-pack combo, and it's $1,500, so not very cheap for that. And the $600 TP-Link B800 is also available at Best Buy, and I think you can buy them on Amazon or pre-order them on Amazon as well. So if you're interested in getting that Wi-Fi 7 and you've got this one phone on the face of the planet that actually has Wi-Fi 7, head on out and get that 3,000 megabits a second.
I didn't even know we were on Wi-Fi 6 yet. Like, our devices out there for Wi-Fi 6? Actually,
Gavin actually just found out he has a Wi-Fi 6 access.
Yeah, and like this is how I don't pay attention to Wi-Fi anymore, because ever since I put the Unify system in there, everything just works, right? But I had to buy a new access point, and I didn't even realize it was Wi-Fi 6. Never thought about it. And I just realized my iPhone 12 is connecting via Wi-Fi 6 to only that access point. So it doesn't really, honestly, it doesn't really make sense for me for Wi-Fi 6, or probably for anybody in the regular home for Wi-Fi 6 or Wi-Fi 7. But it seems like, we haven't even reached Wi-Fi 6 yet. It feels like now we're already talking about the next thing.
Hey, I'm just glad this thing has like the appropriate ports on it and stuff. I mean, it's actually got like a fiber port on there. It's got it looks like a 10 gig Ethernet port as well. It looks like 2 of them maybe. I mean, so like at least they're putting some thought into this, but it's not even a real standard yet. So whatever they release now probably isn't going to be like in the official standard.
Yeah, you got to have faster ports because this gigabit networking stuff is no good anymore. It's just garbage. You got to at least be on the 2.5 gigabit, especially for your computer and your router. And if you got 10 gig internet coming in, you got to have that 10 gig port. So
well, and it's just annoying because like products like the Eero 6E have like one 2.5 gigaport port and then one gigaport, and it's like, okay, well, that doesn't really serve any purpose. So
I don't think these serve any purpose for most people. And even if you had a fast internet coming in, right? Like if you say you had 5 gig down and could actually take advantage of this in some way, shape, or form with a wired connection, and you could stand next to the ugly thing that is, well, I guess the mesh one's not that bad. It's like,
wow, I can't believe you think this thing is ugly. It's got a really cool display on it. It show the logo and stuff. Looks like an X. I mean, it could be like a super villain logo or something. It's got curves, Seth. Curves.
Yeah. The other ones look like a towel holder, I guess, like a paper towel roll. If you just set it out, it's okay, I guess. But that's the mesh ones look like paper towel rolls, and the other one looks like a big giant X thing, like TJ was describing. It looks horrible. Anyway, if you can stand next to this thing and feel the radiation coming off of it, I guess, yeah, you can get that 3,000 megabits down. But if you're across the house, it really doesn't matter. You may as well just be on something else.
Well, that's why you got to spend $1,500 and get the 3-pack, Seth. Come on.
I guess.
$1,500 for some mesh Wi-Fi. That's crazy. I mean, you could just buy like a proper Wi-Fi setup at that point.
And get more reliable.
I mean, like a UDM Pro with like 3 access points would be what, $1,100 or so.
Yeah. I mean, we sell some commercial access points that are $1,500 easy, and you only need one, where in some cases like this, you'd need 3, but they're not going to give you 3,000 megabits. They're not Wi-Fi 7 yet. So it's coming. Wi-Fi 7 will be here next year, I think.
And just check out that sweet design, the 7 with the on the paper towel holder dispenser thing. I mean, it's such a classy looking device. I could see this in a multi-million house. That was sarcasm.
No, I picked up on it.
I just want to make sure everybody knows.
It's like, oh, I spilled some coffee. Can you get me some paper towels? No, it's not working.
No, that's my $500 router.
Yeah, 3-pack should cover up to 9,600 square feet. So not bad. $1,500, 9,600 square feet. I guess we're going to have like a price per square foot database for these Wi-Fi.
For new Wi-Fi stuff.
Yeah, I mean, because we were talking about it with one of our partners that sells Wi-Fi stuff. And I guess the Wi-Fi 7 stuff is coming. But the price, there's going to be some sticker shock, I think, on a lot on the Wi-Fi 7 stuff, especially at first. I mean, look at the TP Link. Like, what would a discounted brand is $1,500 for a 3-pack? Like, that's way more than most people are going to expect. And when you're talking about enterprise grade stuff, like, it's going to be way up there. So I don't know. It'll be interesting. Like, we have to decide if you actually need Wi-Fi 7. And
hint, you don't.
You don't. Yeah. Stick with the 6. Six is good.
Unless you have the OnePlus 11, the only phone that has it. If you have that, then go ahead, knock yourself out. If you don't have that phone, it's probably not worth it just yet.
You know what? If you wanted to future-proof yourself, you could, but I would still hold off until the standard's at least finalized, and then get those devices, those Wi-Fi 7 devices.
And just don't. I mean, honestly, like, unless you're some super hardcore person that needs the speed, you probably don't need this fast Wi-Fi speed. I feel like an old man at this point, just because like people keep talking about like upgrading their Wi-Fi to like 5 gigabit, and all this stuff. And it's just like a majority of people don't even come close to like a gigabit. So If you're asking if you need this, you probably don't need it.
I'm looking to see if there's an article here from How to Geek in April. Oh, this is April of last year. I'm trying to figure out if there's a list of Wi-Fi 7 devices. So there's an article over here at historycomputer.com talking about what devices are Wi-Fi 7. Let's see. Qualcomm, I guess, has the chips coming out that have Wi-Fi 7. I guess it's a Qualcomm thing. So that makes sense why the Qualcomm powered phone and TP-Link and specifically actually support Wi-Fi 7. But I don't know if there's any client devices out other than that phone. I guess that's it, huh? Well, go buy a phone from this one. What was it? OneLink?
OnePlus.
And then OnePlus. And I'm sure the Snapdragon Qualcomm powered phones will start getting this Wi-Fi stuff as they get released. Like I'm sure the Samsung phones will have it, right? Because they use Qualcomm, don't they?
Yeah. Well, and that's the thing is that it's a Qualcomm chip that actually has the Wi-Fi 7 in it right now, and that's what OnePlus is using.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's going to come to other devices.
That's what everybody's using.
Well, unless you're a really cheap device, then you use MediaTek. But and the phone isn't bad. It's $700 for the phone, so you're going to pay more for your Wi-Fi router than you are for this phone.
The Google Pixel probably has Wi-Fi 7, the new one that just came out.
The Pixel Fold.
Don't know about the Fold. If you fold it, it's only Wi-Fi 3.5.
Oh, that makes sense. And it's $1,800. So
it'll pair nicely with your toilet paper roll Wi-Fi 7 routers. All right, let's move on here. Amazon is popping out a new Dot this week. It's updated the Echo Dot, lowering the price, kinda. The Echo Dot's currently priced at $50, and the new Echo Pop is $10 less at $40, which kind of puts it more in line with the older and often discounted third generation Echo Dot. We talked about this a bunch before the show. TJ, you were like, no, it's $100. The fourth generation Echo Dot, is $100. And the fifth generation Echo Dot is $50. I don't know. It's very confusing.
There's just so many. There's too many, How many do you guys need? Make like 5.
And stop selling the old ones. Like they still have the third generation for sale on their website. That's the same price as this new one. The third generation does have the 3.5 millimeter line output. I guess that's, if you needed that, that's really the only reason to buy that thing for $40. Otherwise, this one's a pretty good upgrade. I think it comes in 4 different colors, lavender, blue, let's just say purple, teal, black, and white. I'm not talking about their silly marketing names.
Come on, you got to say the proper colors, Seth.
No, thank you. It doesn't have the smart home stuff, but it does have Eero built in. So if you wanted to extend your mesh network, this is a really quick and easy way to do it for $40. So not bad.
I was looking at these and my first thought was they were introducing a number of new features with these things, and you're going to have to upgrade your existing shows or, Echo Dots to get some of these new features. I guess this is the way they're going to make money off of it. Add features that are going to force you to upgrade.
Yeah, and honestly, we kind of saw that happening with Matter and stuff anyway, and I think it's just the natural evolution of tech, especially when they make the devices so cheap anyway. You're going to be forced to buy new ones at some point to get new features. It's just, I guess, a matter of if those features matter to you.
So I have about 6 of these in my house. Well, not the older ones, right? I just don't know what I'm going to do with the older ones now. If I upgrade them to the newer ones, I'll probably buy one, see if the features are any worth it or anything like that, and then go from there.
You could always give it to the old people in your life.
Oh, yeah. I could give it to my mom, and you can, talk through that instead of having to actually call her.
There you go. They have the broadcast feature like Google does, so you can yell at people remotely.
Yeah, they have the drop-in feature, etc. The check-in feature. But give her someone to talk to too.
Some of the new features you're talking about are the AI thing we talked about last week, where they're going to be upgrading the voice processing inside of it. I guess this seems like a decent update to the product, especially if you don't need that 3.5 millimeter out to go to an audio system or anything like that, which most people didn't. Let's be honest.
No.
I wonder what the sound quality is like on these too. Because they're stood up in a way, before it used to be flat and the mics seem to be around it. So this one stood up. Now it's more directional, it looks like.
Yeah. The one above this one, I think, is $60 and has a clock on it. It would have been nice if they had been able to do the little LED clock display on it, the way this sits up, like you're talking about. but unfortunately, it's their entry level for Echo Pop is the entry level. So I guess can't worry too much about it. But yeah, I am curious how it sounds too. I finally went to Best Buy and tested out all the Sonos devices and the new what was the Aero?
Ooh, the new Era 300.
It was okay. It was right next to the 5, and the 5 sounded better. I mean, it's $50 to $100 more. I don't remember.
Yeah, I think it's like $100.
It seemed like that was worth it just to do that instead of the Era 300. But
I'd imagine they're just going to retire the 5, but
yeah, I don't know.
Who knows? They haven't updated it in quite a while, so
yeah, it seemed to have more highs on the 5 rather than the 300 didn't sound kind of mushy. But I don't know. I was in the Best Buy. I did finally hear the little Bluetooth speaker they had, which
the Roam.
Yeah, no, is that the Roam? The little small.
So they have the Roam, which is the very small one, or they have the Move, which is the larger one.
The Move I've heard, I liked it. The Roam, for what it is, I guess I liked it too, but a bit pricey. What Sonos isn't.
Well, and I heard that one, the Bluetooth is very flaky on it, so I would recommend not buying it.
We have a need for a Bluetooth speaker from time to time, but I have like 5 of them and just randomly find them rolling around in my garage. And when I need a Bluetooth speaker, I just grab one of those. And it's typically, even though I haven't plugged it in and charged it in 2 years, it typically works for the entire time that we need it. So just some random Chinese thing we bought off Amazon. I mean, they work great. So anyway, moving on here. This story is depressing here. There's a new type of TV coming for your Samsung, LG, and Vizio televisions. It's a completely free TV if you don't count the price of your attention or personal data. Telly, it's a company created by Pluto TV co-founder Aya Posen. It offers a TV that makes up for basically the non-existent price tag by showing constant advertisements in a second smaller display. The company calls this thin strip. It's basically like think of it as like maybe a strip of a TV that mounts or sits below your TV or maybe above it. I'm not sure. But it's like a little smart display that basically has advertisements and maybe a widget displaying sports scores or something like that. Weather, news, that kind of thing. Stock prices. I don't know. It's like a little ticker display, I guess. But ads could pop up on the far right side. We'll put a link to the story here. You can look at the picture and kind of get what they're trying to do. This is a story here in The Verge, and they have an interesting quote that I pulled out of here. It says, while the ads shouldn't interrupt whatever you're watching on the main TV display, Telly's chief strategy officer, Dallas Lawrence, tells The Verge that ads might utilize both displays when you're not using the main TV. So when the main TV is, and this is a quote from the guy, is not in use, the ad unit could just come to life and connect them both up in a fun way. It's really, really gross. Lawrence also says that the Telly is also working on a Telly Rewards program that could reward users with gift cards for services like Netflix or Starbucks for participating in things like on-screen polls. Ew. But I mean, Gavin, this could work great for you. Instead of popping up on the TV, you could just put this other TV off to the side or down below, and there you go. Boom. Advertisements without the interruption.
I feel like this made me feel bad because I paid a lot of money for a TV right now and I get ads, and now they're giving us a free TV with ads. It's like, come on, like I should have just waited, but it's going to start off all nice, maybe get one ad here, one ad there, but I can predict in a year's time, the TV will just be full of ads. You'll have ads all around and the picture will actually be 1/3 of the size of the screen or something like that, right? Like there's no way they're not going to kill you with ads. They'll just add one more, right? I'll just wait for the hackers to reverse engineer it and find a way to block all this stuff and we get free TVs.
I was just kind of joking. LG's not going to turn off their own ads just because you have this thing installed. LG's going to keep their ads and you'll get these ads at the same time. So it'll be like a double whammy. Like you'll have the Pizza Hut ad down at the bottom on the bottom screen. You'll have whatever is overlaid on top of the LG on the thing you're trying to watch on top. There you go. That's the experience everybody wants. Ads, more ads. Please send them to me.
I can only see this being like a thing that works in a commercial space. Like if you had some kind of bar or restaurant or something like that where you're watching a lot of sports, this kind of makes sense to me because you can have the main game thing going on, sport ball and all that good stuff on the main screen. And on the little ticker screen, you could have little, scores from other games and whatever else is going on. And there'd be some kind of commercial element to it where, bar owners would get paid for how long the TV's on or something like that. But I feel like this is a super hard sell for residential people. I mean, a 55-inch TV now, like a normal one, not this monstrosity, is like, $200 to $500 depending on how good a quality you want. So I don't see why anybody in the residential space would pick this up when TVs are already cheap enough.
It would be nice if they gave you the feature afterwards to buy it out in a way, right? So if you really did not like the ads, you could just, buy out the TV and get rid of the ads. And at least you have the option.
You're going to miss out on that sweet RMR though.
Yeah, it's not a normal size TV. Like it kind of goes back what I was about to say when you were like, why don't they just sell a regular size TV? Like sell a 55-inch TV for free or $20 or whatever. And then have the bar owner install it and then put your ads on top of the picture, like, or on this, like I see that all the time with, where they have like a digital signage experience and they put ads down on the side strip or on the bottom or something like that.
Because with this, you're not losing the game, Seth. You're not losing the game and you're getting some bonus features.
I guess, yeah, you're not getting the whole 55-inch or 60-inch TV. You're getting maybe a 40-inch TV on your TV plus ads. So I guess that makes sense, but yeah. I don't know. This I hope is dead on arrival.
It's like somebody saw the Samsung frame TVs and they're like, that's a really good idea. How can we make that worse? Samsung's already making it worse by giving you the 2-piece mount, and then they change the mount every single year, and they give you that VCR size box. What can we do to make this experience worse? Ads. That's how we can make it worse, and we can still give you that same big box. So it's probably going to have that same obnoxious box that the frame TV has. It's going to have a silly mount with it. And then you're going to have to deal with ads. So they've made the TV worse somehow. But it does say future proofed on the side of it. So, I mean, I'm sold. If they can make my TV future proof, then maybe that's worth it.
Yeah. Well, I guess it's not really clear to me in the story. And then they have a little picture that kind of has dimensions and stuff on it. But it looks like this is like an all-in-one unit. So it has 2 screens, a sound bar that's in the middle, and then a little small ticker screen at the bottom.
Well, it looks like it's got a little camera thing too.
Oh, well, they got to watch you. They want to see what you're doing. Yeah.
It does. It says HD camera for video calling. So, because I mean, that's what everybody does. I mean, in 2013, when they were making TVs with pop-up cameras, they were so popular. So I'm glad they brought that back.
Yeah.
And honestly, like that's how I can see it in a commercial space, right? Is because they have the video calling feature too. And like nobody's doing that in their house, but they might do it in like a small business.
It's not like they could put the camera in the sound bar. They have,
Stop it.
And now you got me thinking, how could they make this worse? Like how long before we got to accept cookies
on your TV?
Before we got to close the pop-up windows over the program, it's going to start off as a little ad at the side, but it's just going to get worse from there. Because they're going to have to generate more money at some point.
It also says in the blurry picture that I'm trying to zoom into that the HD camera is for interactive something. I'm pretty sure that's advertisements. So
probably AI stuff.
Oh, yeah. Got to be AI.
Oh, well, when I get one this summer, because I've RSVP'd for one, I'll let you know how it goes.
Oh, what a world. What a world. Who wants this? Besides TJ. Oh, gross.
Well, I mean, they have 500,000 units. Who doesn't want one stuff?
I guess it's better than no TV. If you don't have a TV, you can't afford a TV, get a free TV and watch some ads.
I don't know about that.
What I mean, nice. It's like take this thing and just store it until this company goes out of business and then plug it in. It should be fine, right?
No, they don't never turn on. I mean, because some of the TVs now, they require you to connect to the internet before you can actually use them. So that wouldn't surprise me at all if you have to connect to their servers before you can actually use this as a TV.
Somebody will reverse engineer it. Trust me.
So I guess they'll charge your credit card $500. It looks like, and then if you're not actually watching your TV or sharing your access to your data, it costs you $500.
No, so that's how they're going to make their money then.
Yeah,
there you go.
So when do you get your $500 back? Do they pay you back over time? Do you have to earn it back?
6 years. I made that up. Would not surprise me though.
It's a lot. He's just like Chad GPT over here.
That's
Making
fake
things
answer.
up.
Yep.
Yeah, if you it says here, if you choose to opt out of the data collection, you'll either have to return the TV or pay the cost of the dual screen TV, plus the sound bar set up yourself, which is I guess $500. I don't know, gross.
All right, well, I'll make sure I put it on Seth's credit card.
No, you go ahead and get one, TJ. They got 500,000 of them. Go ahead and get one. Pop it in the new house. And...
I'm gonna get you drunk at Infocom and get that company credit card off you. Ain't gonna be my money going to this.
Oh, man. All right. Well, let's move on here to other broken products. IoT security company Sternum has discovered a vulnerability in one of Belkin's smart home devices, the Wemo Mini Smart Plug V2. Evidently can be exploited for a remote command execution. And Belkin has basically punted and said, we don't sell that thing anymore, and decided not to patch it. Maybe. I'll put a star on the end of that because we'll get to Belkin actually responded after this thing came on. Sternum found the flaw specifically with the Wemo Smart Plug V2, which works with HomeKit, Google Assistant, and Amazon. After reaching out to Belkin, Sternum was told the device is at the end of its life and will not be patched. It's probably a lot out there. Version 4 is the latest model that Belkin has been selling, and it does not suffer this flaw. Belkin responded to this saying, and this is what's confusing. I guess The Verge has a quote from a spokesperson saying that it will be addressed. And it kind of says that in their tweet that we found. It says, here's their tweet. The security of our products is a top priority for us. Our security team works to prevent vulnerabilities and exploits and responds with diligence. As such, this vulnerability is being addressed. So, okay. We hope that moving forward, firms will speak to official spokespersons before issuing stories of this nature. So I guess Sternum just basically talked to somebody at Belkin, and they said, we're not touching that thing. And then they went to the press with their story, and that's what happened. Belkin claims this vulnerability cannot be exploited remotely, basically saying that keep your home network secure and you should be all right. That's really not how it works, though. And then I guess there's a CV on this now that after it went to press, I guess 9 to 5 Mac reached out to the organization that handles the CVEs, and that's what caught Belkin's attention to get them to respond to all this. So I don't know. This sounds weird. I guess they're going to update this old device and I have a bunch of these, actually. I may plug them in and wait for the update. But
first time you've used them in a year.
Yeah, no, they basically turn on Christmas lights, so that's when they get plugged in. I don't know. Like, is this seems like a big deal because they should they should keep up with this device. They discontinued it in 2020 and don't sell or support this model anymore at all. 3 years later. So I don't know. It seems like Belkin kind of has, I guess, the right to say, yeah, we're not going to support this thing anymore. You should buy the new one. But then again, maybe they don't. I don't know. What do you guys think? TJ, what do you think about this?
I mean, I feel like anytime that like a serious vulnerability like this is exposed, I feel like the company should have to address it in some way. But the problem always comes down to like, how long does that go on for, right? I mean, if somebody's using their smart plug for 20 years and it still works somehow in that time frame, is the company still responsible for it? Probably not. But no, also nobody's like telling you this stuff when you buy it, right? And that kind of goes back to, I don't know a good solution for this. What I keep coming back to is like expiration dates on products that basically say this device is going to stop functioning after X amount of time because the company doesn't want to support it any longer. And that's the only thing I can think of that like actually makes sense, right? Is because we're going to have a ton of these, really inexpensive and expensive devices that are going to be on the network forever. And these things are just going to keep happening. And we're going to keep getting, botnets and all kinds of crazy hacking stuff going on because these devices are still out there and still connected to the internet. And nobody cares or knows about the problems that they have. I mean, if you told a normal person what was going on with Wemo smart plugs, they would look at you like you had 20 different heads because they don't understand any of this.
You got to have the smart plug mini V2 and like, who knows what they have? Like, I know what I have because I know when I got them and how old they are, but like most people are just like, yeah, I got something, and then it turns the lights on at night. Gavin, what do you think?
This reminds me of Wise all over again, right? Because Wise had the issue with their cameras where they were basically saying, we're not going to fix it. We can't, stop using them, right? Their wording is very questionable because they're saying stuff like it's being addressed, right? Of course, it's being addressed on their newer products, but they didn't specifically call out the older products, right? And they also say, we believe, it can't be exploited remotely. Well, they believe, it doesn't sound so for sure for me, like I'd like them to say it can't be, right? But we believe is a different, tone. So they really need to take this one seriously. Like TJ said, like, I don't know what the right solution is, but I think the right solution is actually expiring the devices, and the reason why, and stop them from working. And the reason why I say that is because we're getting to a point where all these devices with vulnerabilities will be out there and never get updated and will become parts of botnets, etc., etc. And if you just disable the devices and brick them, at least the device is sitting in, like, if it's in a corporate environment, if it's in a restaurant and whatever, at least they'll stop working and the person would know that, hey, this is no longer no good. Let me go buy a new one. And their help desk will have to answer all the questions like, why did my device stop working? Well, because you got to buy a new one. We turned it off, right?
Okay, Sonos. Let's have a conversation.
Well, yeah, I know, there's a difference between like a $30 plug and a $500 speaker, right? Like I understand that too, but they'll need to figure out what they can do for the customer at that point. Give them a discount. I don't know. But in the end, they could say, to make your environment safer, to make your network safer, we disabled this. We bricked this because there's a vulnerability we can't fix. Sometimes they truly can't fix it because the libraries are just too difficult that they're using, too difficult to update. Maybe they can't update them. Maybe the hardware can't support it, So they got to make that call. But in the end, I think it's best to have a safer network. And if that means bricking the devices for a safer network, that may be the way they have to go, right? But they need to figure out how they'll compensate the clients because there'll be a lot of people that are mad.
I think they would have a bigger problem if all the devices started working. Like you said, people are going to contact their help desk and it's just going to create a bunch of problems. And for the most part, I think they have a better handle on how many of these things are out in the wild actually running.
Yep.
Than Sternum or 9to5Mac or any of these media outlets do. Like it could just be a negligible number because most people have not gotten tired of these things and thrown them in the trash already. Because
that's what I was thinking too. I think most of these things now they're probably like, oh, there's 50,000 out there, but most of them are sitting in a drawer or are thrown out already because they didn't work properly anyway.
They didn't work properly. Yeah, I have one of these that I think of one or two of these that Robert, friend of the show, Robert Spivak, sent to me because he hated them. They worked on my network, but they did not work on his. And before I had like the Ruckus thing set up, they do not work on like unified networks at all. So, I don't know. Like, I'm trying to figure out when. I guess this thing was retired and it's basically at the end of its 4-year promise that they're going to update it. But I think Belkin can say, okay, we can do this one last time. We're going to send out an update after this. The update's going to say, we're not fixing this thing. You need to update your device and get something new because this was made like years ago. It's probably Wi-Fi 2 supported.
This is 4 years old. We can't do anything with it anymore, guys.
But they're just prolonging the inevitable.
Right, it's going to happen again.
They fix it it's going to happen. They're going to be in the same boat, so might as well just deal with it now. And I think it's all these companies' responsibility to keep the internet safer, right? Like they're just throwing devices out there, and the botnets are just getting bigger and bigger if they're sitting there vulnerable. We need to hold them accountable.
I think they put these initially. Yes, they were just throwing these devices out there. Everybody's learned a lot of lessons over the past 4 or 5 years, and especially larger companies like Wemo. A lot of these companies and a lot of them today still like just throw something against the wall to see if it works. I mean, what was the little garage door company we talked about not too long ago? Like all of a sudden they have a completely exportable thing and people can just open and close your doors but remotely, and they just basically disabled all of them until they could be patched, I guess. Devices like this, where they require some kind of like firmware update, or maybe Wemo doesn't even have access to the firmware that runs inside of these chips that are in there, because that could...
Wemo has access.
Well, maybe. Like,
they push updates to these things, right? Like these things can be updated remotely without you interaction. Mine were getting updates remotely without me even pushing it to them.
Yeah, I mean, kind of, but there are also flaws in those chips, and if they stop working, then you can't, there comes to a point where it's just not practical to reverse engineer to update your products anymore.
Yeah,
especially after such a long time. I mean, like if I have an old one of those white Mac computers back there, and if I go plug that thing in and try and get onto any website, and this thing I used maybe 6 or 7 years ago is the end of its life, but like if I go to like any website on the face of the planet, it can't even, the Safari can't even connect to it, because the technology we use for the little lock thing at the top of your website, the encryption, is completely different, and websites now reject what that thing can accept. And there's no new modern browser that I can download, first of all, because I can't even connect to download anything with, but there's no new modern browser that I can load on the thing because it's an old 32-bit computer, and they just don't work with any of that stuff. So without like going in and disabling a lot of the security features, like I can't use that computer. And the same thing, I mean, that's a Mac computer. That thing was, what, $1,000 or more back in the day. These are $20, $30 switches with little tiny chips inside of them that were just being like rigged together at the beginning of the smart home revolution that we had. I think the version 4 Wemo has probably learned a lot about what to do, what not to do with these things, and has a better product on the market, and would rather see people move to that. And I do agree with TJ, what we were saying at the beginning. Like, there should be an expiration date on these things, right? Like after this point, no more updates. Like we're done. We're going to tell you just put a sticker on the box, like they do with the milk, the carton of milk at the store, like best if used by this date. And after that, you have, a year, and then we have no control over, updating it, or no promises we're going to support it at that point. So I don't know.
But it needs to be removed altogether, because just doing that, you still leave the vulnerability.
They're still out there, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Right? They're still out there. So they need to come up with something where it's just disabled so it can't do any harm.
Yeah, I'm reading through the sternum, how they broke this thing, and it's like super low level C code stuff. I mean, most of these companies don't even touch that stuff. Like Wemo probably does, but most of these companies out there, they're using some package that rides on top of the chips, and just like doing, some JavaScript programming or something or Python programming over the top of it.
Yeah. The device expiration is kind of like taxes. Everybody knows the right answer a lot of times is to raise taxes or implement a new tax, just like they probably know the right thing to do is to introduce an expiration date, but nobody's going to do it because it'd just be suicide at that point. Like nobody's going to buy your device if you're the only one or two people that's coming out and saying, hey, this device is only going to work for 5 years.
Right.
So like it really, unfortunately, it's got to be like a government regulation thing.
Yeah.
Because nobody's going to do that on their own, unfortunately.
It would be suicide. Can you imagine Sonos saying that, or Apple?
Oh no, and that's the thing. And like I would get upset too, right? Like, and I talk about it all the time because I think it's the right solution. But if I bought like a $900 sound bar and they're like, this thing's going to work for 10 years, I'd be like, are you crazy right now? But like, that's unfortunately, when you have internet connected devices, we have to figure out something where this isn't a problem, because this is only going to keep being a problem, especially as the amount of terrible internet connected devices keep increasing, like stoves and fridges and tea kettles and this silly dual screen TV that nobody's going to buy. I mean, it's just all this stuff is going to die eventually. And we're going to have to deal with the DDoS attacks and everything else.
And once companies figure out, like once we accept that, expiration date, companies will figure out, hey, we can get them to upgrade every 5 years, because we'll just make it expire after 5 years, and then it'll turn into 3 years, and then 2 years, and then it'll be a yearly thing, right? Like that's going to be the ugly side of it. I mean, I was thinking about that with the Google screen they announced last week, right? They were only guaranteeing it for, what was it, 3 years or was it 5 years? But still, you would think like a screen like that for $500, you'd get more than that. You got to start putting a price per year on it, and don't buy that website, Seth, please.
Dang, I was just there.
I was almost.
Am I sharing my screen?
No, I was thinking you were gonna put a price per year database or something like that.
DJ was already talking about his $900 soundbar,
Yep.
and I was like, "Well, that's $90 a year. Like, what is this? What is this other one gonna be?"
I knew what you were thinking.
The $90 a year is better than the 3 years you get out of Google. That's $166.
Now we're comparing our life. We're now it's turning into, now we're just leasing these devices, you know?
Right.
Yeah.
Well, and it's like, you know, and how everybody always complains about like planned obsolescence. It's like literally planned obsolescence at that point.
Yeah.
But like, you know, it's kind of got like a valid reason for it. You know, there's ways they could figure out to like make it work locally only and all that good stuff, but they're never going to do that. So.
Right. And as soon as they do say, okay, we're going to turn off all cloud, well, it's kind of the same problem. Like if they say this doesn't work with the cloud anymore, it's only local. The problem is that this device in particular has a local issue. If your local network is compromised with another device, then they can, I forget what, is it a side channel jack or something like that? The technical term, where they've hacked your computer. Now they can go over and get a foothold in your Belkin Wemo and just kind of put something in there. It hangs out. If you fix your computer, well, it doesn't matter. The little Wemo switch in the wall that you forget's there, and it only, you know, turns on and off the lights at night. That thing is what's, you know, infecting your computer again. So no good solution here for anything other than, I guess, don't use products with technology in them, but that's not why we're here, folks. I do think, I mean, I hate to say it because we're going to get into our Goofy Matter segment later, but like this is one of the, I guess, the promises of what something like Matter could do. Like it, especially if you're not, and this is Wemo's problem, is if you're not using Wi-Fi in particular, right? Like Wi-Fi is a major network. It's pretty ubiquitous. You have Wi-Fi hacks and all this stuff all the time. That could be, you know, a way around this to, well, get on another network, get on a LoRa network, like one that's less known. And then you definitely would drop your footprint off of having a problem with a device that has an exploit in the LoRa radio versus the Wi-Fi radio, right? If it's on a different network. So I guess that's the promise of having a different network setup.
But don't worry, Matter will solve all this. You know, Matter's going to work locally. There's not going to be any exploits or hacks. Problem solved.
Never. All right. Well, I don't know really how to transition to this, but Latch, maker of Latch OS, I'm sure you've heard of it. It's a full building enterprise software as a service access control platform. Announced it's a definitive agreement to acquire Honest Days Work. It's basically Ring founders Jamie Siminoff's latest company. They're going to acquire them, and they're bringing it. Latch will acquire 100% of capital stock of Honest Day Works with exchange for 29 million shares of Latch common stock and $22 million in aggregate principal, blah, 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 business stuff, yada, yada, yada. First of all, what is Latch and what is Honest Days Work? Honestly, like I never heard of any one of these companies. And evidently there's a $50 million deal here that happened and like between two companies nobody's ever heard of. And if you go to honestdayswork.com, it's just like a joke of a website. It just says Honest Days Work. Like, I don't know what to say.
Must be a bunch of remote workers.
TJ, you've worked with some locks and stuff in the past. Have you ever run across a latched lock?
You know, I have not. This looks like it's only in where they're stationed at, which is New York City, it looks like. So I would assume that they're probably in like one or two high rises, and that's probably it. But I know that access control is like a really big market. Access control has been around for quite a while, but the actual like cloud integration of it is relatively new, and there's all kinds of new companies coming out. There's popular ones like PDK or OpenPath, and I don't know the exact pricing on a lot of them, but you're typically paying, between $50 to like $150 per door in a lot of situations that you actually want this access to, and that's per month. So there's a ton of money to be had in commercial access control, especially like apartments and stuff like that. So I think we're going to see a lot more of these devices. And we were talking about it a little bit before the show and showing off some commercial locks and stuff like that. They're generally really ugly and very like industrial looking. So it wouldn't surprise me to see some company like this come out with new fancy and flashy looking devices as long as they work, and they could charge a lot per month for them.
Gavin, you were looking at reviews on this thing. What did you find?
Oh man. Not even Chad GPT can write a review that bad. That company was getting torn apart. I guess it was on their Facebook group too, but I've never heard of this company, and it must, I don't know. Is it a new company? Is it an older company, been around for a while? They make it sound like it's been around for a while. It's proven, but we were just trying to find pictures of these locks, and that was that was difficult just to see what they look like. I don't know. Well, maybe it's the beginning, and we will see them in the future being offered everywhere.
I'm trying to find, it's a publicly traded company. So I'm just like trying to find their financial information, and it doesn't look like they have filed their quarterly report forms in quite some time.
Are they an American company?
Yeah, they're on NASDAQ. That's
okay.
It's like a penny stock, though. It's not worth anything.
Like there's so many weird flags around this company. I just don't know.
Some kind of scheme or something. I don't know. I still cannot find any of their financial documents that tell that you would normally expect to see a real company file, at least for the last year, for 2023. Maybe there's stuff in 2020. I don't know. It's really weird. Anyway, that's probably why it's a penny stock. 28 million sounds like a lot of shares, but it's not. Anyway, best of luck to Ring founder, who is no longer at Ring. I guess I think we covered it over about a month ago. They announced that Jamie Siminoff would be stepping down. There'd be a new Ring CEO that was taking over, and it only took him a month to found Honest Day's Work and sell to another company for $50 million. Not bad.
Wish I had his track record. Jeez.
No kidding. That's what a month.
I feel like it's just gotta be like an acqui-hire more than anything. It's like, you're a good name to lead this company. Just come lead this company.
So the funny thing is ChatGPT seems to know a lot about this Latch company. It was founded in 2014, reimagining how people interact with their living and working spaces. No, it actually is giving you, what it offers, the smart lock software platform, Latch OS, integrations and partnerships. So, it's been around for a while.
Just want to know how much money they're making. Like, you should be able to look it up, and I don't know. I don't see it. Anyway, the stock is evidently up. It's $1.02 now. So it's up 10%. And I looked at it. It wasn't very much the other day. It was below $1. So I guess Jamie Siminoff has worked his magic again. And it'd be nice to have that golden touch where you just walk in the door and make the company millions of dollars just by having your name on the sign.
Touch.
No quarterly reports in 2022. I can't find an annual report. Well, we'll let the financial experts look at that and gamble their money away at Jamie Siminoff's new investment. So have fun. Let's move into our new segment here. Who's mattering this week? And LG TVs matter this week, Gavin. LG has silently updated and added support for an LG TV to act as a Matter controller, and you can add devices through the app. How's that going?
I hate it. I guess you need a bit more detail than that. So my LG TV, I was excited when I got this thing. I plugged it in, I accepted everything, I hooked it up to the web, and bam, I got an ad. Or 5, right? So you know what, I eventually at some point reset the whole TV to factory, and I kept it off the internet and tried to keep it as a dumb TV. And then this article came out, so I was like, cool, let me let me just play with this. So then I installed the Think client on my phone and tried to connect it to the TV, but the Think client kept crashing, or it wouldn't connect, or it was just not working. I even rebooted my phone. Eventually I got it to work, and I just gave up. And then, I was upstairs and I got a text from my wife that the TV wasn't working. I had another message on the screen. I was like, what the heck is all this? So I had to go downstairs. It's just a mess of an experience, right? So eventually, to get the app working, I had to accept all their terms. And then as soon as you accepted all the terms, you got the message, thank you for accepting our terms. Here's an ad, right? That's all this is about. They're just giving you ads, and this is why I don't like these smart TVs. I just gave up on it, and at this point, I think I'm gonna reset the TV again just to turn it back into a dumb TV, and I don't even want to think about this anymore. Like it's just a frustrating experience with these smart TVs. And it's like as soon as you accept the terms, and the thing is nothing works if you don't set those terms. So I can't AirPlay to the TV. AirPlay is a local thing, but I gotta accept their terms so that I can use the AirPlay on the TV. So I don't use that. I'll use my Apple TV to AirPlay to that instead, right? But anything smart on the TV, you have to accept their terms, and they have multiple ones. But if you just accept the first one, nothing works still. You have to accept them all for everything to work. And as soon as you accept them, like you turn on the TV and it's like, here's an ad, and they don't even do ads right. This is what really even, I could just hear Richard, going on about this, right? But when I turn on the TV, sometimes I'll get 5 ads, but they just pop up over top of each other. So you only end up seeing the last one, but you hear it bling like 5 times. Right. And it's just driving me nuts. So it's going to go back to a dumb TV, and any future purchase of a TV I make, I just want dumb TVs. They've ruined the whole TV experience for me. In the words of TJ, they sat there and looked at the TV and said, how can we make this worse?
It's a glowing review, by the way. It's just glowing review.
No, but that's the difference. Okay. Yeah. And there's no technical explanation between any of that, because I never got it working, and I just said, screw this. And I just deleted the app, and I was mad. Right. And it's one thing if I get a free TV knowing I'm going to get hit with ads. I'll accept that. Right. Like I got the free TV ads, but this TV wasn't cheap, and I'm still getting hit with ads, and I know the number of ads in Canada don't even compare to the ads you get in the US. Right. And I knew that you guys get hit hard down there. And I knew that because once I switched my Alexa over from Canada to the US so I can get the features sooner, it started hitting me with more ads, that I never had before. So I feel bad for you guys. Like we only get a fraction of the ads that you guys are getting.
It's not even election season right now. I mean, just wait till that happens.
Yeah.
This ad was paid for by blah blah blah. Yeah, it's
so that's my review. That's my review. It's a glowing review.
Every time Gavin talks about his TV and how awful it is, I just can't think of the times that I told him not to connect it to the internet. But he was like, "No, I want to AirPlay, or I want to do this. I want to do this." I'm like, well, "Stop it, Gavin."
You buy a TV and it's like, okay, AirPlay's built in. All right, great. But then as soon as I AirPlay to it, it gives me a prompt that I need the actual remote for. But I have Harmony remotes, so then I got get the other remote out to accept whatever. Like there's features on the TV, and it's like I said, AirPlay is a local thing. Like, why would I need any sort of cloud? It should be local. It should be an Apple thing. It's built into the TV. But no, they want you to accept all their agreements before even that works. So yeah, I agree with you. Don't connect it, but the other issue is there's updates that
because you don't need them,
right? So no, you do. In this case, there was an update
resolution, right?
No, it wasn't resolution. It was with the TV. They had an issue with it getting too dark. They had a bug in the HDR or something like that, and the screen was just getting darker and darker to the point you couldn't see anything. And you had to get another update to fix that. And I think they fixed it.
Can't you just flash it via flash drive though?
Yeah, but then you got to keep up to date with it and stuff like now I'm gonna have to subscribe to forums to make sure I know like the updates out there. Like the regular person doesn't do this, so they're gonna suffer with the ads. It's like every time you turn on your TV, it's hi, welcome to LG. Here's an ad. And the ads aren't even relevant. You know, like I don't care what's on.
You sound very distraught, Gavin.
Yeah, sorry. This LGTV thing was my trigger word. You know, like how matters sets trigger word. You know, it just got me going, right? You know.
Well,
okay, I'm gonna calm down now.
It's my time to rant now, Gavin. That you said matter.
Ooh,
tear into this doofus over here who wrote a story. Said, "I'm done waiting for Matter's smart home. Throwing in the towel." Yeah.
Oh, no.
Doesn't actually exist. And I guess there's an interesting article over at How to Geek as well about how this guy bought a smart home or bought a house and decided that he wanted in 2022 to go all in on Matter, which didn't really even exist at all and still doesn't to this day. So I don't know. Like, I think tech punditry has basically ruined Matter and what it was supposed to be. If you go back and look at the original press announcements, and they say this is like, what did Apple say? It was just like, this is just a thing to make our voice assistants work together rather than, you know, having a label on each individual box. And they never really talked about what I think people labeled the product of Matter to be. And everybody is expecting this thing to just like work today on day one. And I think it's going to take another 3 or 4 years. And if it's still around in 3 or 4 years, then it's time to throw in the towel. And if you can't get a product in 3 or 4 years that has Matter on it, and it doesn't work like it says, and you still get ads on your LG TV for just installing an update, I think it's time to throw in the towel then. But like right now, it's just wait, just be patient. Don't pretend that you can get these Matter devices now because they don't exist. They won't, not for a long time.
Nope.
That's my only rant. Like, it's just ridiculous.
And you said something key there. If it's around still in 3 or 4 years, that's important to me because the way companies are looking at it right now, they're like, yeah, we're going Matter, and then they're like, hold on, we're gonna hold off on this Matter for a little bit. So they're obviously not seeing, you know, the urgency to it like they saw. I think it was so hyped up. And we were very cautious from the beginning. I personally did not see a point to it. I didn't see I just was waiting for the gotchas. They eventually hit us with the gotchas, but other people reporting on it thought it was going to be the savior to the smart home industry, and I never thought so because of the names involved. Right? Like they only have their best interests involved, and they got to figure out how they can keep their best interests. Right? So I'm not surprised. I never waited for Matter. I have a Matter like controller. Like I have the Sky Connect. I haven't even plugged it in because after watching, you know, Automated House Jimmy on Twitter and all his frustrations with Matter, I just, every time I see one of his posts, I'm just like, I don't have time for that this year. You know, I'll deal with this in 2024 because he's just fighting with this thing, trying to get it working. And, you know, it's like when they get a product that works, it's like everybody celebrates. Hey, this works, you know, and they're happy, you know, and it should have worked from the beginning.
It should have. And I think I put this in my long rant this morning about this guy talking. Like
Seth went on. If you're not part of the hub, Seth had a good rant earlier.
Oh, so. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's trigger word.
Yeah. Well, okay. Matter is not the savior of the smart home. It never promised to make a ubiquitous smart home and a relevant smart, like it never promised to even make a working smart home, right? It's a standard. It's a standard so these devices can talk together, okay? And we have other standards we can look at. Wi-Fi is a good one. We just talked about exploits that happened because of bad Wi-Fi chips. If you remember what Wi-Fi was like, what was it, 802.11a and B? Like, dear God, you would celebrate if you got a device working. You really would. If you got a lousy touch screen from Control 4 or Crestron working on your Wi-Fi network more than 5 feet away from your access point, you were screaming hallelujah. And being able to get paid for one of these $5,000 access point or $5,000 touch screens to work with your $30 access point. Like, Wi-Fi was not good in the beginning, right? It's better now. And it's just taken time, and it's taken investment from many companies over many years for Wi-Fi to get us to Wi-Fi 7, where we're having to like laugh about how absurdly fast the stupid thing is that you can only use on one phone. So give it time. Wi-Fi was not around in in the early 2000s. Like it hasn't been around 20 years, I guess, in most people's homes. And now it's finally to the point where sitting 2 feet away from a leaky radiation box, you can get really fast internet. But it's still not even reliable. It still doesn't even work well with most devices. It still doesn't work well with little small IoT devices, because they probably shouldn't be on Wi-Fi anyway, Belkin. Give this thing a couple of years, and hopefully the big players that you mentioned, Gavin, invest back into it, and we get a decent standard like Wi-Fi out of it. And if we can do that, then I think we'll all be geared for the better here. But like these tech pundits really just screwed the pooch on discussing even what Matter was. And I don't think that like Apple or Google or anybody really helped. Like the Matter people helped. Like they were really silent on what all they were going to come out with. Like for a long time, they were just like, we're in this working group, we're talking amongst each other. And then finally they're like, we're going to release it. No, we're not. Here we go. We released it. And they delayed. It just took forever to come out with any information whatsoever. And what they did come out with was finally there. It was so confusing. Nobody could figure it out. And all these tech pundits got it wrong again. The thing is this is just a standard, just like Wi-Fi, just like Ethernet. Give it time, let people adopt it, let companies adopt it. If it's worth being around, it'll be around in 5-10 years from now. If it's not, then something else will replace it, like Wi-Fi. But what we do know from past experience, like Wi-Fi is not really good for this stuff. It needs to go away. And there needs to be a better solution out there for setting all this stuff up, where right now, when you get onto a Wi-Fi network, there's a solution for that, right? Like you go to your computer and it pops up on the thing and says, do you want to connect to this network? Yes, type in a password, boom, 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 you're done. There's even, if you go to Starbucks, there's a standard in there where if you connect to their access point, it pops up a little pop-up and says, type in your email address, click agree, you're done. Like there's all these little things that were built into this process to make Wi-Fi work for people that did not exist at the beginning. You guys remember it may not even be around anymore, but there was like a button, like an easy button you could press on your router.
WPS.
Yeah, WPS. Like that looked good and was completely security, like it was a failure. Like you should never use that. Turn that off.
You can easily brute force past those.
Yeah, it was so bad. Like the standard was completely bad, and that luckily over time went away. So like there will be all sorts of things that get applied on top of this standard for Matter. There will be all sorts of devices that do and don't work well with Matter, but just give it time. Like you can't say that you're giving up and throwing in the towel on a thing that doesn't actually even exist and on day one. But I don't know. Like I know there's going to be problems, but I think that it's worth the investment, because if we can get to the point where setting up a smart home product is as easy as connecting your Wi-Fi at Starbucks, I think we're all going to be in a better place for it. So that's my rant. There we go. Matter. Doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter. None of it matters. I'm just tired of talking about it at this point. I feel like we've been talking about it for like a decade now. It hasn't really gone anywhere. I know it exists kind of now and stuff. I'm just tired of it.
I'm tired of talking about Wi-Fi too, but
but like Wi-Fi works. It's here. We can use it.
But it took 10 years for it to actually work, right? Like it did.
No.
Yeah.
I mean, it was a long time, but that was forever ago. We can forget about that now.
I would love to figure that out. I mean, it's the same growing pains with every piece of technology, right? Like if you introduce something new, you're going to have the same growing pains. And to expect the Wi-Fi, $300 touch or $500 touchscreen to work with your $89 Wi-Fi router that you got from, what was it? The Linksys WRT 54GL, right? Like that was, everybody used that thing and it worked great. And
those things are still going.
Still exist. Yeah, you can flash them with open WRT. So yeah, still work. But
go ahead, Gavin.
No, his whole concept, his whole theory breaks down though with printers. They've been here for decades and they still don't work today. Like they have not standardized the printers to the point where it works properly. My printer, you know what? One rant a show. I'm gonna calm down. One rant a show. We'll save it for next show.
What we need is a printer standard, like you said, that will work.
I thought we had one, AirPrint.
No, we don't. Printers just need to go away at this point. Nobody needs a printer at this point. Actually, I just bought one not too long ago, so I still need one. But stop making them.
Just make them good. That's all. Like,
yeah, I think the Matter thing would be better if we didn't talk about it for 4 years before it actually came out, and then it launched with no devices, and a year later we still have nothing to show for it. So I mean, like, I feel like it would probably be better if that stuff didn't happen.
yeah.
And it was going somewhere at this point. And I know standards take a while to develop, and you got to have people get behind it and stuff like that. But it's just been awful so far. So I can't blame anybody for hating on it at this point,
I guess.
And they're going to keep hating on it until it gets better. I mean, it's just the way it works, you know?
I mean, it's a promise. I remember sitting in people's homes trying to connect these stupid touchscreens to access points, and they just simply didn't work if you moved to 5 feet away, or the battery would run down in 5 seconds, or, you know, like all that stuff took time for manufacturers to figure out and do right. And I think Matter's in the same situation. If you're hating on it now, like, yeah, it's version 1. Like, if you don't like being an early adopter, don't early adopt things. Stick with what works. Stick with what we know works, you know? Zigbee and things that Gavin just talked about. Stick with that stuff that's got a decade or two of experience behind it. And then 5 years down the road, grab your Matter devices, sync them all up, use the unified app experience, that kind of thing. I don't think that expecting day one products, most of which have been retrofitted with Matter to work with Matter, other Matter products. Like there's only been a handful of like actual soup to nuts designed Matter products that exist out there right now. Most of them are like, oh yeah, we updated our software to work with Matter that was never designed to work with Matter. So like, just give it time. It'll take over, or we'll have something else, Matter version 2, or some better name than Matter that matters later.
And if you're building a smart home, don't wait for it. Like,
no.
My advice today, if you're going to build, you know, look for a hub that supports all, whether it's SmartThings, Habitat, you know, Home Assistant that supports Zigbee, Z-Wave, you know, everything, right? And make sure that hub can export your devices to all the various ecosystems. So I know at Habitat and Home Assistant, you can export the devices to Google, to, you know, Alexa, to Siri, and you can use those ecosystems if you want, right? Through that. And that to me was almost like what Matter was promising, you know, being able to use your devices on all the ecosystems. Well, you could do that today with these hubs. So look at doing that, and you will be happy. You know, don't wait around for it. You'll just be waiting for a number of years before it reaches something you really enjoy.
Agreed. Now that my rant has lasted longer than it took me to type this morning, I will.
It's gonna suck next week. It's gonna suck next month. It's gonna suck for a couple of years.
Yeah, absolutely.
And by that point, it'll be a decade old, so it might be all right by then.
Yeah, it's got to mature. They've got to polish off the rough edges. It's never going to be good right out of the gate. Nothing technology is ever
never going to be good. Heard.
You get the full stop right there.
That's the show title this week. It's never going to be good.
Done. I don't like thinking about show titles, so that's for sure going up. All right. Well, all the links, topics, and rants we discussed tonight can be found on our show notes at HomeTech.fm/436. Nothing in the mailbox. We do have a pick of the week. This one is actually really cool. Gavin, you found this thing. It's a DIY haptic motor knob thing, and I was like, "What's Gavin talking about? Like this sounds weird." And I watched it. It's really cool. It's a fully programmatically controlled knob that these guys have, a smart knob. It's got a little screen in the middle. It's got an LED light around the side. You can twist it and turn it just like a knob. It's got some feedback mechanism basically from a little motor, DC motor inside, where it can actually give you the little clicks that you would feel if you were turning a knob that had clicks on it, or it could just be perfectly smooth. Really cool idea. It's kind of hard to explain a lot of the features they're talking about here, but if you go watch the video, they have all the examples they run through, and it's really cool. Good find, Gavin.
No, it's amazing. Like when you watch the video and they describe, you know, all the feedback you give and how it's you know, configurable and stuff like that. So like you can have it click, but you can have minor little clicks, or you can have larger clicks. You can have it, you know, snapping, you know, like when you get close to a click, it'll actually pull. And they go into details about the motor they used, how they did it, etc., etc. really good looking device, but it's not a device that will make the market. They said right off the bat, the motor they use, you can't even buy them anymore. So they don't even know what they would do, right? Because they're all sold out. Some they would have to get it custom made. But just seeing what they did with this, it looks pretty amazing how smooth it and how well it worked.
Yeah, it's a really cool video. And you said there's another one we'll have to put in the show notes too that goes over like the technical details or whatever. But it's really fun to watch. Definitely somebody's passion project, I guess. And yeah, it's really cool though. Like to go, it reminds me, you know what it reminds me of? Like a Nest thermostat, you know, with the ring around it.
Mm-hmm. That's what I was going to say.
Kind of has the same interface, in so to speak. But like, I don't think the Nest had a motor inside that could like snap back the thing or apply pressure while you were trying to turn it. I think the Nest, it just kind of spun around in circles from what I remember.
Yeah, no, this one, the motor does a lot of like they program it and the snapping. You can have it snap at just one point, right? Or you can have snaps almost like a clock. You know, you could have it give feedback. You know, like there's a little, you know, dot on the screen that will follow around, kind of giving you an idea. Like if you turned into a volume control, kind of give you an idea, you know, 0 to 100, for example. Like there were so many things that they were programming this to do. And it's almost like it's just a concept, right? But when you look at it, you could see so many ways they can apply this concept.
Yeah, it reminds me of like the old receiver knob, like the volume control knobs. Some of those had this kind of thing built into it, like a pressure motor that you would be able to spin or move like that. I can't think of any of them that have like a clicky part of it to it.
Yeah.
Unless they were mechanical.
Yeah, they're so nice.
It's really cool. Very cool find. If you have any feedback, questions, comments, picks of the week, or great idea for a show, give us a shout. Our email address is feedback@HomeTech.fm, or you can visit HomeTech.fm/feedback and fill out the online form. All right, well, that's going to wrap up the show. I think we ranted enough tonight about just about everything. But we do want to give a big thank you to everyone who supports the show, especially those who are able to financially support through our Patreon page. If you don't know about the Patreon page, head on over to HomeTech.fm/support to learn how you can support HomeTech for as little as $1 a month. Any pledge over $5 a month gets you a big shout out here on the show. Thank you very much, Josh. Again, big shout out on the show. Sometimes this is a 2-for-1. Like he didn't have to, but we gave him 2, right? Anyway, but every pledge gets you an invite to our private Slack chat, The Hub, where you and other supporters of the show can gather in there every day and talk about how to ship smart products to Canada, or smuggle them into Canada, I guess is the better. You guys are going to need like IoT mules or something to smuggle things across the border.
Oh, I don't want to know where you're going to put them up.
Ooh. All kinds of good options.
Yep. If you want to help out the show but can't or don't want to be a IoT mule for Gavin, you can head on over to iTunes and drop in a 5-star review, which evidently is very hard to do. So thank you if you've done that recently. We really do appreciate it. I guess it's not easy to find a way to do it, and you have to Google search it to see. It goes through like the web interface or something weird. Anyway, thank you so much if you have dropped a 5-star review on iTunes. We really do appreciate it. It really helps people find the show and promotes discoverability and all that good stuff to bring more listeners in. So we really appreciate that. That's it for this week. Everybody have a great weekend. We will see you next week.
Take care.
Till next time.